Welcome to the Team of One podcast, where we share the story of the solopreneur by exploring different ideas from different voices so you too can find a way to live life on your own terms. My name is Mo Choice, and in this episode, Sabine discusses her natural inclination towards entrepreneurship, the challenges of avoiding burnout, and the importance of trusting her instincts within the noise of modern technology and social media. Sabine also introduces her latest project, the Power Live Library, aimed at making her extensive knowledge accessible to others. The conversation concludes with reflections on personal growth, the importance of physical well-being, and the fulfillment found in serving others. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Welcome back to the Team of One podcast. Today we're joined by Sabine Schoepke. Sabine, introduce yourself.
Hi. Yes, my name is Sabine. I'm located in Los Angeles, California, and I am a retired serial entrepreneur of 38 years. And today I focus on sharing my lived knowledge and experiences in business and in life with people who need it, who need to know what I have acquired over the last 38 years.
So, do you identify as a solopreneur?
Yes, definitely.
And how do you define solopreneur?
There's nobody else to blame. That's pretty much it. It's like a sport of one. It's like playing tennis, right? Or going surfing. And surfing is probably a good analogy. It's just you and the waves, and there's a lot of moving parts out there, and it's up to you how to conquer those. And it's about taking responsibility and picking yourself back up when you get crushed by a wave, and it's all of those things.
I love that. I often use the sea as an analogy for the market. You're going into a volatile, chaotic, mostly unknown space, and the market's going to throw up storms and waves and sharks and also sometimes sunshine and beauty and all this, and you have to then navigate that. So I love that. I think that's spot on. That should be. We should make that the official. We should make that the official definition of solopreneur somehow. You have no one else to blame. I love that. That's so cool. It's exactly right. It's like the definition of personal responsibility in many ways, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What? Obviously, you talked about being a serial entrepreneur, and we talked. And I wish we had more time, but just the structure of this podcast means that we want to sharpen the conversation. You've got a rich history and a deep history. Why did you decide I'm now going to become a solopreneur?
At the beginning, or even now, like where I'm at now?
Right at the so if we think about the point where you were not a solopreneur, what inspired you to then change that and become a solopreneur?
You know what? That was never a conscious decision. That was just me jumping into action and doing. That was when I was 19 and I was homeless and I had to figure it out. And I think I'm just the kind of person that, runs towards the end of the pier and just jumps off and figures it out as she's doing it. And so that was never, like, I never thought I was what I was going to be, but that's just naturally, instinctively, authentically who I am. And so I tried like getting a real job, and it lasted 6 months. And I really just did it to have no regrets, to say I've done it and that really wasn't for me. And that's when it was a conscious decision. But that was already 10 years into being a solopreneur, and then saying, okay, I sold that business. Now maybe I should get a real job for a change. And then 6 months later, I'm like, okay, done that. And that's when I made it like a conscious decision to go back to being that and versus not.
So obviously you've only got your own perspective on this. what would you say to someone who didn't have that authentic, natural pull towards it? What would you say to them about becoming a solopreneur?
I think you gotta feel it. Like you gotta, again, let's go back to the surfer. If you don't like the challenge, if you don't like that high you get from being challenged, if you don't, like once you get crushed and feel like immediately, let me get back out there, paddle back out, and let's do it again. Let's try it differently. I feel like if you don't have that, then don't do it, because I don't think you're going to survive. I don't think you're going to last. I don't think it's sustainable if you don't have that.
Very well said. As a solopreneur, what was the biggest struggle for you?
To not burn out, because I'm so passionate about the things that I do, and I'm so dedicated and focused. It's a constant struggle. Every day I have to make conscious decisions to apply that same discipline, that same focus to taking care of myself, to taking time off, to doing something else, because when I'm onto something, that's my life. Like that's my focus. That's my love. That's my everything. And you can still get burned out even if you really love what you do, because it's too one-sided and you don't take care of yourself and you don't get the rest that you need.
And how did you? Well, I'm assuming you navigated this struggle, but even if you haven't, I'm sure you've gotten better at it. What were some of the things that you did?
So I still struggle with it, but I'm aware of it now, and I don't judge myself for it anymore. Now I can appreciate myself for it and say, okay, that gift is a double-sided sword. So I got to consciously make up for that. And I do things that, again, that I love. Like I love lifting, I love bodybuilding. So I can push myself to go to the gym, get off this desk and go to the gym and just kick my own ass in the gym. And so, or I go to the beach now and I just sit there and I put my toes in the sand and the water and ground myself and realize how much larger all of this is. I get out of my head and like that, none of this is really that relevant except if I make it that relevant, and ground myself back and reset.
Very cool. Um, Literally well-being, right? It's all down to well-being. That's what it comes down
Yes.
to. This might be a question that you say I wouldn't change anything, because I hear that a lot. But if you so rather than saying would you change anything if you started again, let's say you found someone like you who was starting from scratch. What would you tell them?
That's a good one. I think the most important thing is that you don't lose yourself in the process, because it's really easy to, I think, especially today, I think it was easier when I first started, when I was 19 and we didn't have social media. I mean, we didn't even have flip phones back then, like I'm a dinosaur. So back then, I think it was a lot easier to just focus on yourself and focus on your soul path and on your heart path. Where today I feel like we're much more distracted. There's all these voices coming at you. You should be doing this, you should be doing that, and that's how it should be done. All these shoulds, I think it's really hard to tune that out and really trust in your instincts and in your gut and in your heart. And that's something I would tell that person, to really be mindful of that. And get enough time to shut out the world and go back inside and listen to what that voice is telling you.
It's like what came to me when you were saying that is there was a meme I found on the internet that said we used to use the internet to escape reality, and now we look for reality to escape the internet. It's like flipped, right? Um,
Yes.
and also, like when I grew up, similar to you, pre-mobile phone and pre-internet, the only voices I heard were from family and friends and the community that I was a part of. And what I often found was they would say the same thing pretty much. There was no diversity of thought, or no one did anything real different, at least in my community and my upbringing. And so what the internet's done is it's gone completely the other way, where it's too many. So instead of having, so before it was like, I see opportunity now because I never knew I could have done this and that, and that's really cool. But actually, then it becomes too much opportunity. So let's say that we know that, but the person starting out doesn't know that. How would you advise them to navigate this new domain?
It's challenging. It's hard. Especially if you don't have the experiences. Like I can look back and say, hey, I have proven myself to myself. I can trust myself. Where if you don't have that, it's really, really difficult. Um, I would focus on the people that don't have any skin in the game. I think there's a lot of people out there who will benefit from you buying into their opinions and perspectives. And when that's the case, I would take a step back and try to avoid that versus because the thing is, like you said, when it was just the small circle of friends and family when we grew up, and it was all kind of the same, and they were really mostly fueled by the love for you, to wanting to protect you and make sure that you're successful and all of that. So that was very different versus today, where there's like 10 different coaches and consultants coming at you every day trying to tell you that they have the solution, that they have the key to your success. But really, I think in many, many cases, it's really more they're pushing their own agenda. And I think to discriminate there, I think that's really tough. But I think trying to get a bird's eye view of, okay, who is coming at you and what are they saying and what is their ultimate agenda, and what are the referrals you can get, and reviews about these people. I think to kind of build this buffer and keep you safer from spending tons of money that might not get you anywhere, so that's take that bird's eye view and take a step back.
So I want to talk about the future now. Like where you're headed, right? So you've come all the way here through your experiences and your challenges and your exploration, let's say, and the changes to technology and the changes in lifestyle. I know you've lived in different countries. Um, what's the next level for Sabine?
So I have pivoted quite a bit since I sold my last company. I thought I knew how I could share my knowledge, and I realized that it maybe wasn't the most obvious way. And so now what I've come to, long story short, is that I am working on making knowledge accessible to people who need it, who need the help, whether it's in business or it's in life. And so I am currently working on creating a knowledge library called the Power Life Library, where I basically brain dump all of my knowledge into downloadable digital files, and where people can basically choose a la carte what they need help with, and at an affordable price, get the knowledge that they're looking for, but like really valuable knowledge. We're not talking AI generic generated information, but like really things that have gotten me to where I am today, and things that I have tried and that have proven themselves to be very helpful. And so that's what I'm working on. I'm very passionate about making the first half of my life count by now saying, okay, this has not only created wealth for me, but now I can make it count by sharing it with other people and making it accessible to other people.
Very clear. Why is this an important next level for you?
Because I think this is what makes my life worthwhile. After I sold my last company, my kids left after high school. They went overseas and I had sold the business, and I was like, and now what? I feel like I have achieved everything I ever wanted and more, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I had to take a time out to realize what it would be to make my life truly meaningful and fulfilling. And I realized it was about serving others, about helping others, about sharing what I have learned, and not to create more wealth, but to really make my life meaningful. So it's my personal mission. And I feel like my whole life has come to this, and everything I've experienced, I want to make it count.
And how are you going to know? This might seem obvious now that I'm thinking about it, but how are you going to know that you got there?
That I got there? Oh my God, you feel it. I feel it every day. Like this morning, I wake up at 4:30 and I am ready to go. I am back to where I was in my previous 7 companies at the beginning. I'm back to that, but now it's different because I am no longer driven by fear, which I used to be because of where I started off. I started off at 19 when I was homeless. I started my first company, and I realized my whole life, that fire that I had inside of me to build things was driven by fear. And now I am driven by pure joy and purpose. And that's a very different feeling, but the result is the same. It's you wake up at 4:30 and you're like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And that's when I know I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right place.
And so for you to know that this is the right next step for you or the right path, that has to continue.
That feeling?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's like the surf. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's blue skies and perfect waves every
Sure.
day. No, it's not. Of course not. But the overall feeling, because like I said, I've pivoted so many times, even the last 6 months, and you hit the wall and you're like, why is this not working? This platform's not working, or this approach is not working. Why is it not working? But I think when you love overall what you do, again, like you get crushed by that wave, okay, you paddle back out and you're like, let me try
Right.
something else. And
Right.
so, it comes and goes in waves, but it's overall that fire is on.
Mm. Yeah, it's like there's 2 words I resonate with. It's enthusiasm and and being energized. So being enthusiastic and being energized. And I think we can be energized by the good stuff. That's easy. But can we be energized and enthusiastic by the challenges and the dark days and the rain and the storm? And if we can be energized by that, by the opportunity to overcome the challenge, I think that's when, at least for me, that's when I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm on the right path.
Yeah, and it's really what I've learned. when I took some time off, I created a timeline of my life and all of the things that I experienced. And it was really the hardest times and the most challenging things in my life that actually led me to the greatest leveling up, the greatest becoming more and becoming stronger and more successful. And so I see every single one of those challenges today as an opportunity to grow again, to learn something new, to level up again in something that, like, okay, I hit a wall. Why? What do I need to learn? What do I need to, do differently? And that's what I meant earlier. When you have a few years or decades under the belt, and that the challenge is actually an opportunity, it's a lot
Right.
easier to overcome those challenges, and
Right.
be like, okay, so what are we learning today? This is awesome. Let's go.
Yeah, it's voluntarily facing the challenge and the fear and the unknown rather than trying to avoid it or hoping it goes away. It's that idea. Um, there's a quote. There's a quote. I don't know. I've probably stolen this off someone, but it's this idea that. Um, sorry, I mean I probably mixed it between different people. It's not an exact quote, but it's this idea that humility is knowing that we don't know enough and will probably never know enough. And confidence is knowing that you can still figure a way past the challenge.
Yeah, that's
Something like
beautiful.
that. Yeah. And I think to know, for me to know I'm on the right path is to know that I don't know enough because the path is into the unknown, but also to be confident that I'll be able to navigate a way past no matter what the challenges are.
Yeah, beautiful.
I love that. What's the one thing that might stop you from hitting the next level? And I want you to think, Sabine, about your own, what's in your control, not World War III or something like that. Like what's in your control that is the biggest risk to you hitting that next level?
Uh, I don't know. There's really, I mean, the only thing I can think of, and that's in my control and it's not, but it's like, it's the physical well-being, like making sure that I take care of myself physically, that I can sustain the high energy that I have and how I push myself. Um, and that's in my control to nurture myself and take care of myself physically. If something comes from the outside, and that I have no control over, but I think having that balance of physical well-being to that allows us to push forward with high energy and resilience and all of that, I think that's key.
I love that. And it's a good way to close because really that's where we started. Thinking about what we talked about today in this conversation about how you knew that you were a solopreneur and you even tested that idea with that job and then realized that's your path and you went on the path and you achieved the things you wanted to achieve. Um, and really burnout was the big thing that you struggled with and how you started to navigate that. And then from today, how you want to now take what you've done in the first part of your life and now share it so that other people can benefit from that learning and that wisdom. Um, what insights about yourself or about the world we live in would you like to close with?
Like I said earlier, I think that we need to be comfortable trusting in ourselves and what our gut, our heart, our soul is telling us, whatever you want to call it. And at the same time, remain open. Be don't be afraid, be playful with what the world is presenting to us, like the technology and AI and And all of these things that are coming at us, I am not afraid of it. I embrace it because I see it like a playground. I have fun with it while I am making sure that I am also listening to my inner radar of what my feelings are telling me, the good ones and the bad ones, because they're both really important. So be open, but be playful, but at the same time, be guarded of what's coming from the inside.
Very cool. Like tuning in to the energy and the information that's around. Something like that. Where can people find you, Sabine Schoepke?
So my website is thepowerlifecoach.com. People can read more about me there and also check out the Power Life library that I'm building right now. And I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn under my first and last name, Sabine Schoepke.
Amazing. And that's how we met. So I highly recommend you guys connect with Sabine. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you taking the opportunity to share your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mo.
The difference between surviving and thriving often comes down to a single shift in perspective. Maybe today's conversation sparked something for you, or maybe it confirmed what you already knew. I'm going to keep exploring what it takes to reach the next level. For more solopreneur stories, hit subscribe. And if you know someone who'd be perfect for the team of one, please introduce us on LinkedIn. See you next time. Peace.